Welcome back to the 13th annual Halloween special. I'm very excited that we can talk about a brand new movie tonight. This film is out October 3rd, and it's called Good Boy, and it stars Indy the dog. It's directed by Ben Leonberg, and it's about a loyal dog who moves to a rural family home with his owner, only to discover supernatural forces lurking in the shadows. As dark entities threaten his human companion, the brave pup must fight to protect the one he loves most. I've been hearing quite a bit about Good Boy since its festival run. This movie is told entirely from the POV of a dog. The dog, Indy, is the main character. His owner is in the film, but he's kept off screen in a similar fashion that Spielberg did with all of the adults in E.T. You rarely ever get a close-up of his face. In fact, I don't really think you do. His head is almost always in shadow, and usually his dialogue is off-screen when you're focused on Indy. And this is a really brilliant concept. I mean, how many times, not just in horror movies, but in real life, have we noticed our pets staring at a corner, or looking at something, or responding to something that we're not seeing and we're not hearing? And it feels like, is our house haunted? Or are they just hearing something that's on another plane and we're just not connected with it? It's such a good idea to have a haunted house movie told from the POV of a dog. It's a fantastic concept that I am so jealous of. However, what I am not jealous of is the apparent 400 days it took to shoot this movie, because you have an entire movie from the POV of a dog, and that's a lot of dog work. Really difficult, I can imagine. This is the director's dog in real life, so I imagine that helped things a little bit, because 400 days is not a normal schedule for a movie, so I would assume this film was shot when they could. It has a brief appearance by Larry Fessenden, who shows up almost exclusively on video footage. He also had a dog in the past that was seeing things and acting strange in this same house. But the idea of telling a story like this from the POV of a loyal dog is so brilliant, not just because we haven't really seen it before, and it does feel like the type of thing where it's like, how have we not seen this before? But it's also great for a haunted house movie, because if all of the characters were humans, then you would be watching people react to things in ways that people do in horror movies. There's a strange sound, they see a weird sight, and they recoil, they talk about it, they try to rationalize it, but a dog is acting entirely on instinct. It's primal. Everything that happens to Indy in the movie causes him to react in a way that you don't normally see in haunted house movies. He will confront things sometimes in a different way than a person would. But what also connected me to this character so much is the moments where he actually did react in a very human way. A way that I would when you see something terrifying in your house that you can't explain. And that's run underneath your bed. That's why I think this idea is just so genius, because you do get the best of both worlds. You get reactions out of your lead character that don't fit in to how a human would react in a haunted house movie, but the moments where he does act human and he is frightened and he is caring for his owner and wondering what's happening to his owner, those moments feel so startlingly human and empathetic that this movie has such a wonderful beating heart at its center. Good Boy is only 73 minutes long, and of course that's with credits. I can imagine that was probably out of necessity. You have a character that is fairly limited in its communication ability, and the story is affected as a result. But it also is the perfect runtime for this movie, because so much of this film is visual storytelling. There's not a lot of dialogue. And of course, I love that. I love long sequences in movies where you're with a character, in this case a dog, and nobody's saying anything, and you're just allowed to be still in a moment or two. It's really nice. You don't get that too much in horror films anymore. Really, movies, period. Everything's always chaotic and something's always happening and people are always shouting and running around, and it's great to have these really still moments where you can sit in the dread. Also, the scrappiness of this movie is something I immediately relate to. It's clearly a labor of love, something that was shot over a long period of time because it's a great idea, and I can tell the director really wanted to make this movie and put his heart and soul into it and did